Hey everybody, welcome to your Photoshop Creative Challenge. My name is Wade Acuff, and today we're going to be hopefully providing you with some information to help speed up your processes, your workflow. This challenge is a little bit different, as in normally we have a project, there's an end result that you can show. We will show you some ways to speed up your process, your workflow, that maybe you can then put over on our Discord. If you want to know how to get involved with these challenges, in the description below you'll find links to the challenge page and to our Discord at bit.ly/psdiscord. But it'll make more sense in a moment. Let's get to it. So today, let's just read the prompt. Batch adjustments, create Photoshop droplets to affect multiple images at once to create a consistent look. So that's what we're going to do with our automated process today. I will be hopping in and out of a couple of folders. So I'll pull those up now so we can see what we're working with today. So these are our images that we're affecting. We're going to add an effect to these. And first I want to talk about actions, because you have to use an action to create this automated process. We're going to use our good friend Mingo. Come on in here, Mingo. Let's get going. So to pull up your action panels, go to Window, Action. Then you have your action panel. And I'm just going to talk about this just for a minute. We did just recently do a challenge on actions, if you want to kind of get a refresher for that. But what we have to have for our actions is, well, I guess a set and an action. So we have made an action. I'll just show you what we're going to do to affect these images first. So I've selected my action up here, and I'm going to press play. Why is this so there? There we go. It's a little better. Press play. Let's cross our fingers and hope that it works. Also, hello chat. How's it going? If you have any questions about this, let me know, because we're going to be getting in the weeds a little bit. It's super easy though once we run through it a couple of times. So that's what we're going to do to affect all of our images. But while we're here in the action panels, I want to say that there are default actions. So if you just wanted to use some of these that are already built into Photoshop on some images to put those in the Discord for the challenge, that's fine. There are also some other actions that you can add, and that's important to know, because for us to be able to use these as a droplet, they have to be active and open in the actions panel. So they have to be available here for us to use them when we make a droplet. Another thing to note, if you make an action, be sure to save that action, because if you take this action, let me just so make sure you save your action. I have ours saved up here. This is just a safety protocol, because if you make an action and everything's working fine and it's all great, and you delete it, it's gone. You're going to have to record that action again to make sure that you have it. So that's enough on actions. We may walk through how I added some of this grain at the end if we have time, because this is what we did for our action. It's just a list of commands. So now let's go ahead and automate this. We're going to say bye to Mingo. Bye, Mingo. We'll see you later. We'll see you soon, buddy. All right, so come over to File, Automate. And if we come down to Create Droplet, we get this dialog. And I'm just going to walk through these steps so that we all know what's happening. So I want to choose where to save my droplet, and I'm going to just navigate to our folder, droplet, and I want it to be in here. Save. So that's just oh, I didn't. You can name it. It's already named, by the way. Edgy Amber Frame is the name of our droplet. Clicking save. That doesn't make the droplet until we hit OK over here. We have to set all our options up first. So right now it's just set to default actions. We don't want that. So you see here, this is what I was talking about. If you are selecting a set, it gives you all the options for the set. We want to select our PSCC07 set that has the edgy amber frame. That's just choosing the action that we're going to use. A couple of things here. Override action open commands. I don't want to select that because I don't have any action. There's no function in that action that has an open command, so we don't need to override any of that. I'm only using one folder. I don't have to include all subfolders. The suppress file open option is if we had an action that opened a dialog for like a filter. So if you went to the filter gallery or you went to Camera Raw or something along those lines, it's just going to turn those off so it doesn't interrupt the process. And the same thing with suppress color profile. If you change your color profile in one of the steps in your action, it's going to keep that from popping up and disrupting the action. So errors is stop for errors. It will just end the function and won't continue. If you log errors to file, you can save that log if you'd like. I always set this, I just leave this at default, stop for errors. So destination, this one is it's not tricky, but it's one of those things that you have to pay attention to because it could, you could overwrite images. Okay, first off, let's just go through none. None will make the droplet, and when you use it, and we'll talk about this in a minute, or show you how to use it in a minute, it will open the file into Photoshop and just leave it open after it's applied the action. So if you had 20 files and you drag them onto the droplet, it would open them all into Photoshop and leave them open, which would be cool if you maybe wanted to, like if there was always a step in your process that you did after applying that action, they would all be ready in Photoshop for you. Save and close. This is the one you need to watch out for because it will overwrite the images with the same name in the source folder. So if you have an image of the same name, it's just going to overwrite it and will destroy the original. You'll only have the affected layers, files. And that's why you see in my folder, I have a to process folder and a to process copy. So in case something happens, I have a folder with all the originals in it. That is from years of having issues when writing frames or writing for a sequence of frames. I've lost multiple files, and at some point you learn your lesson, and so that's what that is for. So make sure that you're very careful with save and close. Folder. Let's see. So folder is what we want for this. So we're going to choose our folder, and I'm just navigating for the sake of navigating. We have a processed image folder. I'm selecting that folder. The override save as command, override action save as command. If you had a save as command in your action, you could override that. That's what this means. It gives me a pop-up and it tells you exactly that. I don't need that. I don't have any save as actions in my, save as commands in my action, so I don't need it. File naming is pretty straightforward. Because all of our files have unique names, they will save in the folder as a unique name. If you wanted to change the name of the file, you can just start typing in one of these fields. Let's call this character. But if you don't give this a way of sequencing or a way of making the file unique, when you save this, Photoshop should pop up a message that says, you must include at least one of the document name, serial number, or serial letter choices so the destination name is different for the different input files. So it's not going to let you do it. So if you wanted to have a sequence, and I'm saying this mostly for any kind of animation or sequence of images, you would want to maybe put in 2-digit serial number. And you'll notice here, I would probably name this with an underscore just to separate the number. But you'll notice here in the example, it now says character 01. And if we ran the batch, use the droplet with this, it would name the character 01, 02, 03, 04 until you were done with files. So the starting serial is important for that. So if you had processed 10 images in your sequence, and those were already done, you're ready, to move on, you would then come down here to the starting serial and type 11 if you were going to do, 11 through 20. So that way when you start naming, it will pick up where you left off. So I'm going to set all this back to where we were. And you do want to end it with an extension. Usually that's the way you have your .tiff, .png, whatever still intact. I'm going to set this to none. Change all this back to where we started. Okay, and I'm going to click OK. Right now we don't have a droplet in this folder, but as soon as I press OK, we should have a droplet. And what that is an executable file, a .exe, an application that is ready to be used. Let's see if it works. I'm going to come over here and let's drag, sure, we can use our buddy Mingo. Drag Mingo over. Photoshop's going to open it up. I'm going to hop back into our folder. And there we go. Mingo has been made-o. We have the effect is in effect. It worked. Everything's cool. But we didn't do that to just drag one folder, one image in. We want to be able to put multiple images in. But I wanted to do this to let you know, if you already have images in the destination folder of the same name, it will absolutely overwrite that image. This is another situation where you want to be careful about what you're doing and how you're naming your images, so that you don't make a mistake and overwrite, everything, all the work that you've already done. So I'm going to drag this image folder to process. It's going to overwrite. It's going to open up Photoshop, do the things. I'm going to open up and watch our images get made. Mingo will be overwritten, but he's okay. He's fine. I trust he's all right. So let's see. This is just one way to do this. This is my preferred way of using automation in this, affecting multiple files. I often try and find ways to I don't use this as often as I used to, only because I don't do this process as much. But I'm always thinking about, how can I make things quicker? How can I make an automated process to take care of some kind of redundant task? So there we have all of our images, and all of them have been affected, which is great. So that's really cool, right? So let's select them all, and then we're going to immediately delete them all. Do you want to permanently delete these? Yes. Bye guys. That's okay though, because we're gonna do this again in a different way, because Photoshop, as you know, there are multiple ways to do the same thing. So let's do this again, and we're going to use our go back to File, Automate. This time we're going to use Batch. It's almost exactly the same dialog box. The only difference is you're not making an executable file that sits on your desktop or in a folder. It's just using Photoshop as it's open. But we'll go through these as well. Play is our action. It's asking for our action here. Our set, again, PSCC07. We have edgy amber frame ready to roll. Source folder, you can have open files and just use these if all the files are already open in Photoshop and you wanted to run a batch command over 20 images, you could do that and they would stay. You could keep them open. We want to do what we did before, choose a folder, and again, just navigating to make sure I have the right folder, select, good to go there. Same situation with the override action commands. We don't have any open commands in our action. We don't need it. We don't have any subfolders, so we don't have to worry about that. And we will suppress the file open dialog and suppress the color profile warnings, and we will stop for errors. Again, folder none is the situation where it opens and stays, which it's the same. It's again the same dialog as the droplet. Save and close is where you're going to overwrite all of your images in your source folder, so be careful. Folder is what we want. We're going to choose again just to navigate to the folder that we're going to, our processed images. Select folder, and I'm going to leave. We have override action save as command. We don't have a save as command in our action. We have no reason to override. We're going to keep everything down here the same. I'm going to click OK, and Photoshop is going to go to work, and it's going to create those images again for us, and we'll just watch them pop up. And I'm going to say hi to chat. What's up, chat? How's it going? Are you guys thinking of ways to use this automation for your own process, for your own workflow? Maybe, maybe not. All right, so it's going to take a minute to get through these. Come on, Photoshop, you can do it. We believe in you. We got one more image processing here. Awesome. So again, we have it. We have all our images, but we're not quite done, because we can get rid of these again, right? There's still yet another way to do this. Now these are all PNG files. We could leave these in here because we're about to output these to a different file type. You know what? Let's leave them in. Let's just, you can hang tight, PNGs. You're good to go. We're going to go to File, and this time we're going to bypass Automate, and we're going to go to Script, Image Processor. And it's a little different dialog box, but it's really kind of all the same in a way. You could use open images that were already open in Photoshop to change your file type, because that's essentially what we're doing here. We have options of JPEG, PSD, and TIFF, but we want to select a folder, and again, navigation for the sake of navigation. And then we want to choose our folder where our images are. Let's see, and then we have, we're going to select a location. We could do the same location, and it would drop in the PNGs along with the JPEGs, but I don't want to do that. I want to come over to select folder, and just for the sake of navigation, again, processed image, select folder. And if you keep folder structure, if you leave this off, it's going to make a JPEG folder, and we'll see that in a minute. And you would also make a Photoshop or a PSD folder and a TIFF folder if you leave off keep folder structure. If you check it, excuse me, it will just put it in the same folder, and you'll have a PNG and a JPEG, you know, sitting in the same folder. I'm going to keep that off. But down here in preferences, that's where we're back to the same exact thing we've been doing with running this action. Again, it will start at default. You can select your action if you have one of these to choose from. Run action, we're going to go back to our PSTC07 edgy amber frame. Click run. And we're going to hop into this folder. We should see a JPEG folder, which we do. And again, we are processing all of these essentially with the click of a couple of buttons. Now you can imagine how this would, especially with the droplet, if you had 100 images to go through, to have to open each one, apply the action, save them out. It's a huge time saver. And this does take a minute. But I will show you guys, we have a little bit of time, so if you have any questions, please get them into chat. I'm going to show you a little bit how I made this procedural grain scratchiness, which we can take a look at our JPEGs real quick. Our JPEGs are done. They are all ready to go. And we still have our PNGs also ready to go. But let's talk about that. It says, let's see. Anki is saying thank you. Well, thank you for watching. But let's hop in, and I'll show you how to do that grain effect. The only thing that's, there's nothing super crazy about this. We'll use the Trickster. Come on, Trickster. It's nothing crazy about this, but we'll just jump through here real quick. Add a new layer. Gonna press Shift F5 to fill this with black. Come up here to our filter, noise, add noise. I'm going to set this to about 100, or you can do as much as you want. It's really to taste. And then I'm going to go to filter, filter gallery torn edges. Should already be set up for me. It is, but you can adjust this to make it more grainy or less grainy, and you can see I've got this cranked pretty much all the way up because I just want a few little spots, a few little, you know, those sort of things. Clarissa saying, never seen the activity in Photoshop before. It's all new. Well, I'm glad I could share this with you. I'm going to click OK. It's going to give us all these little spots, but now we want to invert this. So you can hit Control or Command I to invert it. Now we have, look, we made a star field. What? That's crazy, but that's not what we're doing. That's not what we're doing here. We are making this some scratches and noise. So I'm going to go to Noise, add noise again. This one I'm going to set down to about 8%, something relatively small, you can see. And then we can go ahead and set this to screen. That's sort of, it's a little too strong. I want to soften everything a little bit, so I'm going to go up to blur and Gaussian blur down to about 1.6, somewhere in there. Click OK. And then we have the start of this action that we made. So this is exactly what I did for my edgy amber frame. Then I went and added a new layer down here. I'm going to drag this below our grain. Control A to select everything and come over to stroke. About 20 pixels. I'm going to grab a parchment-ish color. I'm just using eyedropper here. Make sure it's set to inside. Click OK. Click OK. We have a frame. And then I added an adjustment layer to the whole thing using color lookup. And you may have guessed it. Oh no, I did the thing. You may have guessed it. I used edgy amber, and then I just set the opacity down to about 50%. And that's how we got the action that we used for all of the droplets, all of the batch processing, the image processor. It was all the same action. And you can step through your actions and see how they're made and adjust them to make them work for you. But I'm going to look at chat, see if there's any other questions. If not, that is going to do it for us. Again, like I said, this is kind of a tough one to apply and make a project out of. So if you just want to grab some photos, some of your favorite photos, and use, let me hop back in here real quick, and use one of these default actions. You can play around with adding a vignette or one of these things. You can also go into, let's see, we can also go in and add textures. There we go. And textures has, like, you can make parchment paper looks, recycle paper, all of these things you can apply and just play, or you can make up your own action. That could be fun too. If you do make your own action, let us know when you post on the Discord. That'd be a lot of fun for everybody to say, oh, you made this, how'd you do that? You know, it might start a conversation. It's all about info sharing. Also, if you have any questions, you can hit me up on the Discord or use my socials, that's fine too. But yeah, that's going to do it for today. Stick around for the Ryan Selvey takeover of Adobe Live. It's already been a lot of fun, and we're only on day 2. So that's it. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us. Hope you have a good day, and we'll see you soon. Bye everybody.